Good evening, everyone. I am going to give a little time for people to kind of get on and have a chance to do that. We have something amazing tonight going on. I'm excited. We had an amazing first interview, and that was with myself, of course, and Miss Keisha was there. And we're going to keep this fire going. We're going to keep the momentum going, and we're going to have a great time tonight as well. As you can see, it's me by myself, and that's okay. That's okay. We weren't able to get Miss Diana Coppler on here with me live, but I have her words, and so I'm incredibly excited to be able to share her words of encouragement with you because they are going to bless your life. So stay tuned for a second. We are going to be getting started here, and give me just a second. I'm just kind of, waiting. Facebook's going to spread the word. So once again, welcome. This is Restoring Her. This is our launch campaign, and we are asking the question, who is she? And we are talking to diverse women from around the globe and asking them the question, who are you? What's your story? How have you been restored? And where is your life today? So, like I said, I've got some words from her. I was able to get with her, to speak with her, to connect with her and talk with her about the ways that she's been restored. And so I am excited to bring this to you. I am going to make a slight adjustment in my camera here, just so that it's a little bit better for everyone to see, and it's a little bit better for me too. So if you'll give me a second, I am going to make this slight adjustment. I am here at the Quirky Feather Confectionery in Carmel, and it's a lovely place. If you have ever just wanted some place to go and to be able to have, some coffee or just something nice, something sweet, then you should try it. You should come here. It's right on 116th. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Once again, this is Jen Ray. This is your founder and president of Restoring Her. And I am here with you today during our launch campaign so that we can continue to stoke the fire of restoration. And we are asking, who is she? Our interview today is with Miss Diana Coppler of Lima, Ohio. Miss Diana is a dear, dear friend of mine. I've known her for, oh my goodness, probably about 15 years now. And that's amazing to say. That's amazing when you realize how long you have been in a relationship with someone. And she and her husband are just a wonderful, wonderful pair of the sweetest people you could ever meet. So again, she's not able to be here with us live, but I have her words live, and I am excited to share them with you. So let's get started. The first thing that I had to get her story. I wanted to find out a little bit more about her story of restoration. So I am going to take some time. I'm going to read these things to you. It's going to be just like you're hearing a fabulous story. I love to tell stories, and I do consider myself a wonderful storyteller. So dig in, sink in, allow your mind to just allow your mind to just go away and hear the story as I'm reading it to you. And then I'll be back with some more questions, all right? Here we go. And this is coming from Miss Diana Coppler of Lima, Ohio. I fell in love and married my high school sweetheart. We had been involved in premarital sex, and 1 month after graduation, I learned that I was pregnant. We married and had a baby girl early the next year. Things seemed to go fairly well for a while. However, he wanted to go out and party, and we began to go out every weekend, drinking and partying. We had 2 more girls in the first 5 years of our marriage. I became very dependent on drinking and partying to the point that I needed it, and realized later that I was an alcoholic, like my father and like my brother. I had stopped going to church when my husband and I got together and became very dependent on him for everything. He became verbally abusive at first, and then it became physical. And one Saturday, after going out to get drunk and having fun, I went to pick up my 3 girls from my mother, and she asked me, "What would you do if you found out that your drinking was going to send your girls to hell?" Her comment hit me right in the gut, and my eyes opened to what I had become. Now, I know my sin would not send my girls to hell. However, if I continue down the road that I was on, they may follow in my footsteps because that's what they would see and learn, and what they might end up doing. I stopped drinking from that time on and went back to church and took my girls with me. I found out soon after that my husband had been having an affair with at least 3 women, and he blamed it on me because I was no longer drinking and partying with him. He had to find his pleasure elsewhere. I prayed and asked God to help me, but he did not help me in the way that I was prepared to face. My husband stated to me, "If you give up God, then I'll stop running around on you." And at that point, I made the best decision of my life and told him I would not give up God. We divorced after only 9 years of marriage. And however, I had lost my self-esteem and did not feel worthy of having anything good in life. I continued to serve God and became involved in the church to the point that I no longer realized that I realized that I was no longer the person of the past, but he had made me new and he had restored me. I look back and I realized that I had to stand up against the sin of the world, even if it meant being divorced. I went to college to be a nurse and realized that it was God's plan for my life, and I was able to help many patients and families through my career. So that was her story, and as you can see, the thing that I find that was so amazing about that story, and I'm so thankful to her for sharing that with us and being okay to tell us those horrible things, the things that happened and the things that she made mistakes on and the things that, occurred in her life. And the one thing that I love that she said is that as time went on, she realized that she had been restored. That is an amazing sentiment because it reminds me of my own story and realizing that as time went on, restoration took place. And so again, restoration is a process, and I love hearing her say that as I look back, I realize that I had been restored. That is a phenomenal, phenomenal thing to hear. So I went on to ask her, why is restoration important for women? And here's what she said. God wants the very best for every girl child he brings into this world. He gives us the ability to make our own decisions, but when we make decisions without following his guidance through his word, it always takes us away from him, and our life that could have been full and beautiful becomes lackluster of self-esteem. When we find him again, which is restoration, he can then mold us and make us who he always planned for us to be, which is full of love, life, and the ability to walk in his peace. Oh, that is good. That's good. So that's why she's saying that restoration is important for women, because when we become restored, then we're able to have the lives that he planned for us to have in the first place, which is full of love, life, and the ability to walk in his peace. That's awesome. The next question I asked was, in what way do you believe that women need to be restored? And she says every woman has a purpose. It isn't in anything else that isn't God. Women need to be restored in knowing who they are in Christ. When God becomes first, he can bring you all the desires that you have without anyone else being there to interfere, without anyone else's help, really. And we know that, God works through relationships, but he's able to do that because he alone is God himself. He must be our one and only source. And when we look to something else other than him, we will be hurt, disappointed, and lose who we are and who we were made to be. So again, she's saying that the area that we need to be restored in is knowing who we are in him. And that is right on target. All right. So I asked, how do you feel men will be impacted by the restoration of women? She says, I believe that men will stand up and become the man that God intends for them to be, especially if they want a woman of God. They will respect a restored woman, and that in itself will cause him to look to God to be restored himself. That is amazing, and that is the absolute goal of restoring her. It is that by being a restored woman, we are then able to help those men be restored. And that help a lot of times comes just because they are watching our lifestyles, just because they are seeing us, just because they are watching how restored we are, and then they are desiring restoration for themselves. That is wonderful, 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 and everything that restoring her is all about. And my last question is, well, second to the last. How do you believe the world will be impacted by the restoration of women? The world, the rest of society, how do you feel that they will be affected and impacted by the restoration of women? And she says, when women are restored, our children will be who they were called to be as well. The future generations will understand who they are because of a mother who knew who she was in Christ. Young girls will no longer long for the wrong things, and young men will no longer fear or feel that they need to control women. That is awesome. That is complete and total societal impact. That's world impact. That's amazing. That is a wonderful thing. Now, the last question that I wanted to know from Mrs. Diana Coppler is, who has she become after now being restored? And it was so funny that when we had the chance to connect and when she had the chance to answer these questions, that question in itself did not come up. But I can tell you from knowing her, and I'm sure that she would tell you that she has become a woman who loves God first and who knows who she is in Christ and who is every day seeking after him and continuing on the path of becoming everything that he's called her to be. She is amazing. She's wonderful. She's married now to the most fabulous man, and he is the dearest sweetheart, Mr. George, Papa George, that I could ever even talk to you about. And they are the most wonderful couple of all. So again, I want to thank you, Diana Coppler, for giving us these answers and giving us and really giving us some insight and some and a vision and a view into your life and into your restoration process. To everyone else that is out there, everyone that is listening, ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself, what is restoration to you? What areas do women need to be restored? I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear what you have to say, because restoring her is all about restoring you. And we can do that, and we know that we have programs, and we have wonderful programs coming up. But we're interested also in the things that you want to hear, and we want to hear from you. So we decided, please contact us. Please let us know those areas of restoration that you desire to take part in. And I can't wait for the next interview. We are just continuing on. We're starting out, and we started out wonderfully, and we're continuing on wonderfully. And I look forward to everything that is occurring as this fire of restoration spreads throughout your hearts and throughout your lives. Again, thank you for joining us. I can't wait to see you next time. This again will be posted. I know I had some technical difficulties posting this on our YouTube page, on our YouTube channel, but I am working with that, and we are getting that together. So please continue to watch us here, and I can't wait to see you next time. Have a great night. Be restored. Be renewed. I love you. Have a great night. Bye.